Hello. Welcome once again to a brief discussion of BRC328. Today we're working on chapters 11 and 12, and I wanted to hit three key points in those chapters. Number one is about the different approach that we have now to, I guess, what you used to call advertising. Now it's promotion, communication, marketing. I don't know. They talk a lot about how we don't have audiences anymore. We have communities. Obviously, you see that in social media, you see that everywhere pretty much. We don't have a message. People still talk about messaging, but really it's about content and experience as much. So you might have a message or something you're trying to get through, but it's about how you translate that into what it is. We used to have target markets. Now we have people that we invite. It's about becoming part of the experience so much more. It's not just about running an ad anymore. It's about finding a way for people to connect. What we used to call a media plan. We're going to buy, TV, radio, billboards, print. Now it's about an interest plan. Who do we want to get interested? What channels do we want to invoke that type of thing? And it's not about market penetration so much as it is about collaboration. You'd call it market collaboration. Who do you want to work with? Sometimes in the case of, and especially with bigger companies or social media ambassadors, is they're trying to collaborate like this. And like I see these ads on Facebook all the time. Oh, this influencer wants you to learn more about Tide Pods or something. And it's like, scroll, no thank you. But you also have a lot of partnerships happening now where people are working together in ways to make at best awareness about something like COVID-19, or at not so best is to try to get people to buy something or subscribe to something that maybe they didn't know that they wanted, or maybe actually don't want that much. But that's how things have changed, really. I can't emphasize enough how different things are now than when I was your age. See, I feel like the old person now. Back when I was looking to get into video production and marketing or news, I wasn't really sure which way I was going to go. I went one way and ended up in another. But basically, our idea was, okay, we're going to make ads, TV ads, maybe promotional videos. Those are specific things that are very connected to a medium, which was TV, or basically one of my projects in the first place I worked, the video production company, was essentially something a video that we were going to send to people. It was for inventorying. It was for an insurance company. It never panned out, as it turned out, but it was for basically taking an inventory of everything that you have for the sake of, okay, let's say you have a fire. How do you say, okay, this is things that I have, and so the process of documenting what you have. So there's a lot of discussion of replacement value versus projection value, but how would you go about showing what is in your house, showing the things that you own for the sake of documentation? So the script that I wrote was really about a fun little party that two couples were having. It was a bit of a stretch, perhaps, but different ways that they might go around the house and just skips almost, as far as seeing what is there and how they would accomplish the solution. And that was going to be mailed to people, I don't know, on VHS tapes or something by an insurance company, which is a very limited thing. These days, it would be something you'd put on YouTube and Facebook. Maybe a snippet of it would become part of an Instagram video. But video as a medium, as we've talked about elsewhere, it's unlimited where you can put videos these days. You can put them up on Times Square, for that matter. Things are a lot less constricted by this is the option. These are the options we have. Options are wide open now, and that brings me to the next part of chapter 12, which is or chapter 11. I'm sorry. Chapter 11 is how to create different experiences, and obviously they talk about once upon a time there were taxis. Now there's Uber, where everything is interconnected. You can leave a rating on them, and you can segment things a lot more. And hotels versus Airbnb. I've used Airbnb a few times. I love Airbnb. In a way, I feel bad for the hotel industry, but at the same time, if I can stay somewhere for $50 less and I get my own fridge and I get my own place that I can cook, and which you certainly are not going to get in a regular hotel experience, and if it's in a nice part of town, that's pretty awesome. I've used it a couple times. Like I said, I've loved it. I took a Adirondack vacation, and the person I was staying with basically gave me like there was a room and another suite, like a little study, I guess you would say, in the bathroom. There was another person staying there at the time. I never saw them. They got up early and would always go hike a mountain. But for me, I had this stuff, and then there would be food downstairs if I was interested in it, or I could just walk to town. This was in Saranac Lake. It was an excellent thing, very laid back. Not everybody's into that type of thing, but if you don't mind not having all the fringe benefits of a hotel and the services, and just want to stay somewhere as if you're staying with a friend, and then can go somewhere and get everything you want, Airbnb makes a lot of sense. That's how things have been changed. And then you rate the place that you stay, and they rate you as a guest. Hopefully as a guest you're considerate. Hopefully they deliver on everything that they do, and I've never had a bad experience in an Airbnb. But and think about that as a branded experience. No, Airbnb, the way that they advertise is really about exploring the world, and that you can do it affordably. That's the solution. But that's also a branded experience. Airbnb means something. Uber means something. And Uber's had some negative brand perceptions as well, because of the people who run Uber, although they've changed that somewhat. But that being said, an Uber is a very friendly interaction. Taxis have not always been that for me. And it's funny, when I was in Albany, I took an Uber from someone who actually worked in fundraising for Hudson Valley Community College. And I was actually in Albany planning a conference that she was planning to go to, which is really cool. So Uber is a side business for a lot of people. And they pride themselves on their knowledge base and their customer service and that type of thing. I'd like to think there are taxis that do that too, but for them, customer service is a value added for Uber or Airbnb because they get rated on it. And so that is the incentive. Money is an incentive, but giving good customer service is an incentive too. So that's kind of how that's changed. Point 2 that I want to make does come from chapter 12. And it's really about the change in media, different types of media. The most important part of chapter 12, I will tell you, is 3 different types of advertising or promotion, I guess you'd call it. There's paid media, earned media, and owned media. Paid media is what you pay for in advertising. When you're scrolling through a website and you see an ad for SUNY Oswego, first of all, you're saying, why are they targeting me? I already go to SUNY Oswego. That's paid media. That means that somebody in the admissions team or in graduate studies has bought that ad that will show up to you and everybody within a certain geographical region and within a certain age demographic, as far as people know. That's paid. That's showing up, because you meet a specific profile that they're looking for. And that's, and obviously paid media still exists. You look on TV and you see ads that are changing. That's something we're going to talk about in a future lecture. But people are still paying for advertising because it's the best way to meet a broad audience, but it's shifting too. There's earned media, which is news or social site attention. If you've seen any of the videos that my office, the ones that pay me for my day job, does, a good example of that might be the piece about a technology ed faculty member and a biology faculty member who are getting together to provide PPE, personal protection. What does he stand for? I forgot. Anyway, personal protection equipment, which is face shields, and they just completed their 1,000th face shield, which they print via 3D, and then they sterilize, and then they send off to local healthcare workers. And it's a great program, and it's something that as soon as I found out about it, I'm like, well, I want to publicize this. Let's do a video and that type of thing. So if you see that video around on Facebook or Instagram or wherever, being shared by people, that's earned media. Earned media is also, once someone has shared it, what we've produced is owned media. Owned media is our website and the official SUNY Oswego social media channels. Once someone shared that in a way, that's earned media. So if I post that, for instance, that piece that I post, if that's shared 100 times, the post itself is owned media because it's on SUNY Oswego's social media presence. Once it gets shared, it's earned media because someone has said, wow, this is a really cool story. I wanted to show people it. And for me, a share is the best social media metric that there is, because it's like someone has bought your piece of content and shared it with people and said, oh, this is so cool. So if we get 100 shares on something, that's great. That's earned media. But if it's owned media is that which happens within your structure. So for instance, you can also find all the videos and notes from home videos on the SUNY Oswego website. You can find them on official SUNY Oswego social media. But when someone shares it, whether it's a student or a faculty member or a staff, an alum or a parent, once that's shared, that becomes earned media. The other thing that earned media is news attention. So Channel 9 picked up our piece, used a lot of our B-roll there, and they did a really cool story about the 2 faculty members who were involved in producing all these face shields for people. So paid media would be if we ran an ad on that. Owned media is your own website, your own channel. So like oswego.edu or our social media channels. And this goes same with like Radio Flyer or Nike or anything that they own their own website and their own social media. Earned media is when somebody else decides to share it or to run a story about it. In other words, someone does a news story about a specific thing you're promoting, or people are starting to share your information. I understand there's a little bit of a blurred line between owned and earned in that way because it's the same content, but it's being shared somewhere else. I tend to think that really the movement in a large part in investment has been in owned media, of people building a robust website and building a robust YouTube channel or Facebook presence or Instagram. That's where I think a lot of the investment has gone. People are still paying for media, but I think not everybody can afford that anymore. So people are putting the resources into creating that content as we do as a college, as so many other places do. The Oswego Police Department that does its daily, they have an officer reading a children's book every day. That's awesome. It's their own owned media, but then a lot of people share it. And there was a story that ran in the local newspaper about it, which is earned media. So paid is what you paid for, traditional advertising. Owned is the things within your own website and within your own social media channels. And then earned means that somebody else has shared it on their channel, or that a news, some sort of news agency, TV or print, online, whatever it is, has covered what you're doing. So that's the difference on that. But then the other thing I want to talk about from chapter 12 is how people have taken an idea and made it into a platform. It's its own platform. We talked about platforms a few weeks ago. And I mean, there's a cool video there for Procter & Gamble's Like a Girl, which I encourage you to watch off of page 12. But one of the more remarkable ones there that's mentioned in the notes there and is in the book is something called sitorsquat.com. I don't think most of you were parents. If you were, you would know that traveling with a child with a small bladder means that they have to go to the bathroom a lot. And so you have to stop someplace and have them go to the bathroom. You don't know how sketchy it is, how dirty it is, and that type of thing. Obviously, currently, you can't do that because a lot of those bathrooms are closed. But back during what I'd call regular times, and where hopefully we'll get to again, you're on a road trip and you need to stop somewhere to get your kid needs to go to the bathroom. Obviously, if you're on the thruway or something like that has rest areas, those are usually pretty good options. But if not, what do? So it's a local Dunkin' Donuts, or what about this coffee shop or that type of thing? Sit or Squat is an app. It's run by Charmin, the toilet paper people, and a pretty good investment on their part. And what they do in that is it's crowdsourced. So basically, people who live in a town or go through somewhere a lot, they might talk about a bathroom, could be in, like I said, could be a restaurant, a coffee shop, a bar, could be a public restroom somewhere in a park. People will rate it and say, kind of thumbs up, thumbs down, give it a score, that type of thing. So you're driving along, you're in, say, Weedsport, New York, and my hometown, and it's like, can I stop? Here's this place, these places. This diner, if I want to stop here, does it have a good restroom? And you'll see a green, go for it. A red, dicey. There might be, and other places like, Arby's. How about the Arby's restroom? And anything like that. McDonald's usually does a pretty good job. You can usually rely on a McDonald's. But anywhere else that you're trying to figure out if you're in a town and you need to use a restroom, you go to this app, you open it up, and it's crowdsourced. Again, participation, showing whether or not you want to go to the bathroom there or not. And as I mentioned earlier, things like Uber and Airbnb, the market decides. People who go to those places tell you whether it's worth going to to that Airbnb location or choose another, or to get or this Uber driver, if you what you can expect with them. And really one of the big ones also, which you've probably used before, is Yelp, which is geosocial, where you can look around you and see what some of the offerings are. What's the type of food that they have? What do people think about the qualities of the food? We talked about an unfortunate example with Boner's Barbecue earlier in the year, but generally speaking, Yelps are going to be honest reviews and people who are doing their best, hopefully, to provide good customer service. There's some things people can game the system a little bit more. People who own a spot apparently can pay money to suppress good reviews a little bit, but generally speaking, those good reviews don't, or they to suppress bad reviews, but those bad reviews don't really go away. You can't get rid of a 1-star review, is my understanding. And it's not that dissimilar to Amazon, as I mentioned a few weeks back too. That you can look at a product and say, "Oh, this product has horrible ratings," but at the same time, Amazon is being honest, and they're losing a sale there, but they're gaining a customer who has, more that has more faith, I guess you'd call it, in the system, because there are products that are not well reviewed, but then you can look at the products with better reviews. And I've seen this cross over to everything from like Walmart to Lowe's and that type of thing, where they will have ratings on it. And this is a corporate owned, this is owned media, and Walmart will have stuff in there, and you can choose between ones that have higher ratings and lower ratings, which might be less expensive. And again, this is owned media. This is not Walmart doctoring the results, which I find very interesting. But obviously, they want to make sure that they also have very highly rated things in there as well. And that's really about how things are, how conversations, how regular consumers determine what other consumers buy. It's a really, really cool part of it. And so that's really what chapter 11 and 12 is. We've talked a lot about how things are more democratic now, how it's peer-to-peer, and how I guess the average person can have an impact on what other people do by basically giving feedback and opinion and influencing. I'm not even talking about the big Instagram influencers, the people who do this for a living. I'm talking the average person. The average reviewer can have a lot of influence on what people buy by leaving reviews and that type of thing, which is obviously an interesting time to be alive. And as people shop more and more online, as you have to do at the moment, unfortunately, this has a bigger impact. In regular times, I can just go to the grocery store and buy whatever. If you're looking, obviously toilet paper is not something you can buy. I'm not sure if you can get it online yet, but if you're looking for something, some information, you can find the information online, not just the product, but what people think about it. That context, which is a brand new layer that we really didn't have before. So I think that's really become the participatory nature of the economy and how business gets done. And so 11 and 12 talk a lot about that. So review those notes. If you've got the book with you, check that. We've got this video. We've got, check at least, there's always some linkage in these as well. But this is the basic stuff that goes beyond the PowerPoint note part. Anyway, hope you all have had a happy or as happy possible Easter, Passover, whatever it is you celebrate. Obviously just having, feeling like you can get your work done, feeling good at all seems like a bit of a luxury sometimes. I hope that you're healthy and that you have happiness in your life. And that, know that we'll all get through this together. And as I've always said, if you're having problems in this class, please let me know. I'll do what I can to help. Till then, stay connected, stay safe.